Rumors are that allegedly Kenya is currently winning her war with production and the network. What's going on? I have some new information that may answer that question and more right after this. What's up, kinfolk, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, do me a favor and subscribe. And if you already are subscribed, do me a favor and get notified so you'll know whenever I upload new videos to the channel. All right, kinfolk, come on into the house. We have a lot to talk about, and it centers around rumors that allegedly Kenya is currently winning her war with the network and production. What's going on? I have some new information that may answer that question and more, and here it goes. Rumors are that allegedly Kenya is winning her war with the network, and it's all because of sloppy work from the producers. The source explains, production seemed to have it out for Kenya since her Carlos King interview. However, it wasn't much they could do because they absolutely needed Kenya back for season 16 of Real Housewives of Atlanta. Kenya being placed on an alleged suspension while Bravo and producers investigated the alleged adult content leak was dumb and ill-advised, said the source. There was absolutely nothing to investigate, the source said, because cameras at Kenya's salon event were rolling all along, with several producers allegedly on the scene. So everyone saw what happened. This was the first straw that broke production's back. The source continued. The second straw was fan backlash. As one of the last standing Real Housewives of Atlanta veterans, Kenya's fan support is through the roof. So production couldn't risk losing half of the fan base for season 16. So Kenya had to come back. But there's more, said the source. Another source said that Kenya had secret information allegedly regarding the entire salon scene. What was the secret info? Well, allegedly, many believe that Kenya may have had evidence that the show's producers were setting up the entire scene all along to help humiliate Britney. Could Kenya have been just the fall guy for production's mess? Maybe so, said the source, and it looks like their plan backfired. Kenya is very well on her way back to Real Housewives of Atlanta simply because she played the long game and not the short game with the network and production, ended the source. Now, kinfolk, this is some new information that's coming out of season 16 filming mess, and my sources are saying that it's only going to heat up as Kenya appears to be making her comeback mid-season for filming. Now, kinfolk, the first part of this rumor that I do think is very or can be very factual and also very smart on Kenya's part is this. Kenya most definitely kept quiet while all this was playing out. And I think that was her best move and the best move for her brand, and her future with the network and with the franchise. Simply allowing other people to craft your narrative for you is also a sign of that you're losing the fight. However, in Kenya's case, I think it's the fact that she had factual evidence on her side that allowed her to sit quiet and allow other people to hang themselves while they were trying to discredit her or defame her. So Kenya keeping quiet was definitely a smart move, and I think that's one that's going to show that it really worked out in her favor moving down the line. Now, kinfolk, the next part of this rumor that I do find very interesting, and I do think that, again, we all can agree on, is this. You know, production in all this has been very unprofessional and sloppy with this fight with Kenya. First things first, you know, their ego, I can tell, has played a big part of this, because if any other housewife who were in favor with the network and production had done something that Kenya allegedly did, they would have been protected. They would have been, secured in their spot, and there would have been no investigation or no suspension allegedly going on. We're just going to look at Real Housewives of Potomac, how Giselle has been allowed to run crazy free for so long without anyone stopping her and her horrible antics that have been detrimental not only to the show, but also potentially detrimental to her cast members and their cast members' families' lives. And so we didn't see anyone stop her there. With Erica Jane, we saw Erica Jane just wreak havoc in the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills when she was first starting with her court case. No one tapped her on her hand. And the list goes on and on, where we see Bravo allowing housewives to really run amok without any recourse. So with Kenya, production was very unprofessional and sloppy in the way they handled this whole situation, simply because I think they just do not like Kenya to a certain extent, especially after what she told Carlos King back in the spring about the future and the current state of Real Housewives of Atlanta. So production really did drop the ball, not only on Kenya, but also on the franchise. You can't help but realize and think that production is somewhat the reason why this franchise is falling like it is. Because Carlos King and a lot of other housewives who work with Carlos King always used to say that the secret to these ensemble casts is that you have to have producers who want to see all of the ladies win, not just one or two of their favorites. So I think that really is an issue that Kenya is fighting right now at Real Housewives of Atlanta. But fortunately for her, production is so unprofessional, it's easy to run circles around them. Now, Kinfolk, the next part of this rumor that I can see it being somewhat factual, and it has to do with the network and their role in all of this. And it's this. I really do feel like the network does not know or did not know what was going on with filming with Real Housewives of Atlanta. When you look at Bravo and you look at the production and the organizational chart of everything, I can see how easy it is for the network to heavily rely on production to keep them abreast of filming issues and problems that may be going on throughout the season. And with that being said and being known, I can see how a lot of things can fall through the cracks, especially when there's some things that production may be doing that is not up to code or the code of conduct of the network that they don't want the network to know about. And I think that may be what happened here. Now, it's all speculation, alleged information. But if you have the network and production both backtracking off their statements that they allegedly leaked to the blogs and to their other websites, then it seems as if that maybe production was trying to throw the rock and hide their hand, but Kenya and other cast members called them out on it. And so what they told the network ended up not being completely factual. So the network had to change course, and so did production. So I really do feel like right now the network is probably taking the lead on this entire saga, and that's probably the reason why Kenya is expected back at Real Housewives of Atlanta. Now, Kenya is, from my sources tell me, a network favorite. She's just not a favorite of production. And I think that production has to realize that it's better to work with Kenya than try to fight with Kenya, because right now fans are on her side and on the side of all the OG and veteran housewives, because we as fans, we're putting a lot on their shoulders to help save this franchise. And it's best you leave them in place and have their back like you have like for other franchises. Now, Kinfolk, the last part of this rumor I want to talk about, it has to do with Kenya and trying to figure out whether she should even want to come back to the franchise. And it's this. A lot of supporters of Kenya are urging her not to even return back to Bravo or Real Housewives of Atlanta, because Bravo, or at least production, has shown their hand and shown their disdain for Kenya. And they feel like it's not a safe working environment for Kenya ultimately, or for her in Brooklyn ultimately. And I can't help but to say they may be right. I do feel like at this point, the way they treated Kenya, I mean, who wants to return to that work environment? And you always have to worry about a target being on your back when you return to such a hostile work environment. And I don't want that for Kenya. I want Kenya to work in an environment to where she can feel appreciated, respected, and loved, so she can bring her best self forward to filming, into group events, into different narratives and storylines, both personal and group centered. So knowing that, I am one of the people that think that Kenya is probably better off without Real Housewives of Atlanta. But however, I can see her going back, and I think her going back is a good thing, because it does show their production that you can't just play with these ladies and their reputation and their livelihood and treat them as pawns in your game, because ultimately it's never going to end the way you think it's going to end, because they have like the support of the fans behind them. But Kinfolk, I want to know what you guys think. Do you think that Kenya returning back to Real Housewives of Atlanta is a good thing, or do you think she should stay away from the franchise and the producers altogether? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. All right, kinfolk, as always, if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys over in the next one. Peace.